Another week, another trading cycles video. We are now in week 19 of 2023. Before we go over what we predicted might happen this past week here, as well as what we predict might happen this upcoming week, as always, keep in mind, we do not provide financial advice. All the content that we share is intended for educational purposes only, and always trade the price and not the prediction. And I'll hand it off over to you, Urmas, to go over kind of what we predicted might happen this past week here that we just had.
Yes, hello. Yeah, looking at that head and shoulders pattern here, it's becoming a bit overextended now. Last week was a bit to the downside, yeah, as we thought might happen. So first 4 days were down days, and then Friday was quite huge up day. Obviously, it happened after Apple's quarterly results there, yeah? And now we have seen for the first 2 days of this week a slight decline again. And as we have discussed before, we have now basically past that seasonal good seasonal period where the prices were rising. And obviously now we are expecting a slight decline, or it might be a bigger decline. Obviously, it depends what's gonna happen on the markets. But the tendency is there, yeah. So as we have talked before, those seasonals are quite important cycles, obviously, and not every year is the same, but the tendency is about the same, yeah, in those periods. So it's quite good to bear them in mind. And our cyclical analysis has also indicated that we might have some decline coming up here in May, possibly up until 24th, and then we might have a good bullish period till the first week of June. Yeah, so that's what we think is coming up there. And obviously, the market itself has been quite steady. The season for quarterly earnings has started, and we have covered it slightly here as well. And by now, more than 2/3 of the S&P 500 companies have reported their Q1 earnings. And the result is quite significant. More than 61% of those 500 companies beat both their earnings per share and revenue estimates. So that can mean two things. Either analysts were quite pessimistic, or companies actually are doing quite good. So yeah, that's something to bear in mind. And also, what I wanted to mention that if this year now is not going to see any decline, any major declines, that's quite good sign actually, because if we look into the past, we only saw once, I think, have seen once a year after a major decline with the negative results. So basically, after every losing year, we have had a positive year, except once. So yeah, that's something to bear in mind as well. Statistically, we have a quite good chance that this year is not going to see another low, but there will be some shakeups coming up cyclically as well. So yeah, possibly by the end of the year, we should be in the positive territory, but yeah, only time will tell then. All right. What else is going on here? So Bitcoin has been quite negative, and that's obviously what we have expected here. We talked about it last week, I believe, as well, yeah? So we're coming to that cyclical bearish period now, which will last a up until almost the end of June. Yeah. So at the moment we're moving in that direction. Yeah. And the coal market is in the opposite way now, and we are coming to that bullish period here as well. So I do expect gold prices to rise in May further on. So, and 50-day moving averages have been obviously in that same area here. Not much has changed. We seem to have this already for a couple of weeks, and this trend is continuing. So possibly if the market will keep declining, then we will see those indicators be on that lower side as well for the next coming weeks. And yield curve is still negative, so nothing changed there, and VIX index is also in those lows, so not major panic in the markets either. In regards to panics, well, we haven't seen a proper panic as we have discussed previously as well, and I believe we're not there cyclically either. We will see some rise on the VIX index as well this year, but the major panic, I think the next one is coming up in 2026. So there's still quite a lot to go there until we see a proper panic on the markets. So something to bear in mind as well. So these are cyclical indications that are telling us that possible panic period will become obvious in 2026 or in the first quarter of 2026. All right. And yeah, I think I wanted to cover a couple of things in regards how we see those cycles and how we analyzed the charts, and not only the price charts, but also the first rate charts astrologically. So that's quite important thing. So basically those cycles are quite predictable, and as we have seen that the market has been rising from well, since the mid-March, yeah, basically. Then there were a couple of companies that we had picked up in late February, I believe. They were noted down here that had negative transits coming up to their charts, and now we can see the results as well. So there were 7 companies. One of them was CMA, and the indication was that when the Saturn is moving into the sign of Pisces on the 7th, this chart or this company will get hit quite heavily, and that's exactly what happened here. So it's been declining since and has been down. Same goes with ALB. Same tendency. It's very negative. HIMX also the same basically. WB also negative, although market has been rising. And SPLK, for example, same tendency. And ADSK, Autodesk, also negative. Only one that had different obviously tendency was Take-Two. That's WTWO2. Yeah. So that company has been rising only, although it had this transit. So that's quite good and significant, obviously, edge on the market to bear in mind. That you can see in advance if company has hard times coming up in the future, and possibly it might make sense to exit the position if you had one beforehand. Yeah. Yeah. All right. But yeah, I think that's it for this week. We will continue our journey obviously next week and see how things are rolling out here, and see if we have any signs of decline. At the moment, it is very quiet on the markets, so maybe it's a warning sign that something bigger is brewing. All right.
All right. Thank you very much, Hermes. And thank you for watching and listening as usual. If you haven't already, click that like button, click the subscribe button, click that bell notification. Just click all the buttons that you see at the bottom to see what happens. If you see an unsubscribe button, don't press that. But all the other buttons you can go ahead and press. Share this video with your neighbors, with your grandma, with any of your relatives, any of your friends, anyone that you feel like might find this information useful. And if you have any questions or recommendations, anything like that, that's what the comment section is for. Feel free to get in touch with us, and we will try and interact back with you, and maybe incorporate whatever you've written in the comment section into our video as well. But that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching and listening once more, and have a lovely week.
Have a good week. All the best.